Howdy folks, welcome to YouTube Wednesday, and thank you to Alan for letting me sabotage the feed this week. Today we're going to look at some low-cost prop controllers. Let's dive right into it, and we're going to take a look at some of the pros and cons and benefits of these great little controllers. I've done other videos and I've talked about the Boobox Flex from Fright Props. These are great, use them for everything. But this is the Sync 6 from Sync 6. Sync6.com is their website. And these are simple little controllers like that. This is the AC relay version, so that you can control up to 6 AC relay channels from a 5-volt microcontroller. And we're going to take a look at the 12-volt DC version, which is a lot similar to something like this. Right off the bat, Booboxes start at about $175, whereas the Sync 6 starts at $75. So big difference there. One of the things I do like about the Boobox is that this thing is stout. It's a metal housing. And easy connections on both sides, and easy programming. And I've done other videos on programming their software or push buttons. There's a lot of different ways you can program it. But the housing is the big thing. You just mount it and it's good to go. The Sync 6 controllers do not have that hard metal housing, but they do come in a pretty stout plastic casing, which is 3D printed. And it's got a lid, two-piece lid, that slides right on there. And it leaves all your outputs exposed, your audio, your power on this side, and your triggers on this side can all be connected while the PCB is covered up and kept safe. Now, this is kind of a loose fit. If you were going to mount this vertically on a wall or something, I would probably reinforce it with mounting zip tie or something like that. Overall though, I'm not disappointed in the 3D printed case. It's rugged, it's durable, it's got mounting points on it. There are some other controllers you could get out there on the cheap where you're just getting the PCB, and that's very delicate, obviously, and then you have to, figure out a way to mount it, you have to protect it, you have to buy all that stuff separately. And I like just the turnkey, all right, here it is, attach my wires to it, ready to go. So I like that aspect about these. Alright, so I am playing with the Sync 6 DC model. It has 6 channels of output. Right now I have 3 channels in use, and I've wired up these 3 12-volt LED lights. This is flexible voltage. It can take between 5 and 24 volts, so depending on what you want to power, you can use different power supplies for it. So the programming on this is fairly simple. If you've ever done just like a button banger type of controller, this is basically what that is, up to 6 channels, and we've got a couple of extra buttons here for some different functions. And it also has audio capability. Right now I've got the audio line plugged into my computer speakers here, so we'll be able to hear the audio. You've got MP3 quality audio capabilities on this. All you have to do to utilize that is upload your audio files onto a micro SD card and insert it. I've got 2 files on here, one for an ambient sound and one for a trigger sound, and there's no fancy numbering or anything. You just have to put them in order. The first file you want is going to be the triggered file, so the scare noise that plays when it's triggered. The second file will be the ambient file. And the directions for all of this are on their website. There's a full web page, so you can even look up on the website at Sync 6, go to the About page, and it will show you all the instructions on how to program one of these. So in addition to what I'm showing you, you can get a little more comfortable with it before you decide to pull the trigger on one. But their file naming system is very easy compared to some other controllers I've dealt with. So we're going to put our SD card in there, and it's going to have our ambient and scare noises on it. I'm running 12 volts for my 12-volt LEDs. We'll plug in power there. So here are the buttons. There are 6 buttons for the 6 outputs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 2 additional buttons, the trigger button and the shift button. The trigger button is your play button. So once you've recorded a sequence, you can tap the trigger button and it will play it, and you can check it out. The 6 channel buttons all have secondary functions which you can use with the shift button. So channel 1 is also the record button. So when you hold down shift, and tap that one. That starts your recording to record your sequence. Channel 2 is the layer button. If you hold down shift and tap layer, you can basically record two sequences over each other. So trying to get really intricate programming by tapping all 6 buttons in one go and getting it right the first time would be a little bit tricky. So if you were doing a more complex sequence with a lot of different movement between the 6 channels, you can record the first part of it, then you can use that layer function to record additional cues, and then on the saved show it all will play together, which is a nice feature. Channel 3 is the only button that doesn't have a secondary feature. Channel 4 and 5 are your volume buttons. You can hold down shift and use that to turn down the volume or turn up the volume on the output to the audio channel. And channel 6 has the secondary ambient feature. All right, let's walk really quickly through just a simple basic program. I'm gonna zoom the camera out a little bit more so that you can see my LEDs. The LEDs are what we're gonna be triggering. I've got my 2 sound files loaded on my micro SD card. My ambient noise is organ music, which you can hear now if I unmute my speakers. And then we have kind of an electrical arcing for our trigger noise, and that's going to pair well with these lights. I can kind of blink them in a sequence that goes with the electricity. So in order to program this, you're going to use the secondary function. Your channel 1 is your record button. So when you hold down shift and tap record, the sound changes. There's our scare noise. So now it's recording, and I can tap these first 3 channels that my lights are hooked up to in any sequence I want, and it's recording all of this movement as I tap these buttons. And now we tap shift again and we're done recording, and it goes back to playing the ambient track. Now if I press the trigger button, it will play our sequence. And when it's done, it goes right back to that ambient track again. So here's an up close look. There's our micro SD card, and here are our functions. Down here, our shift and our trigger. Right here you've got your audio out. Over here you have your power in, and you can use a standard barrel connector or bare wire connections. And then right here are your output wires for your 6 outputs, and on this side your trigger wires. And it's got 2 contact connection for a just contact closure. So if you wanted to use a button or a foot pedal or some kind of basic actor trigger. And something else unique about these controllers is that they are set up to work with ultrasonic sensors. An ultrasonic sensor is different from a motion sensor in that a motion sensor picks up heat waves from people when they walk by. An ultrasonic sensor sends out waves and measures the time it takes for them to bounce back. So it kind of acts as a proximity sensor, so when anything passes in front of it. And there's a knob here where you can adjust the sensitivity for how sensitive you want it to be. It can control the distance. So when something comes within a few inches of it or within several feet of it, and that is kind of a handy feature. This is the ultrasonic sensor that they sell. You can get with it. Like I was mentioning earlier, it basically is just the PCB and the sensors, so you will need to create some kind of enclosure to hide this in and to protect it. But again, for the cost, these are not bad controllers. I am definitely going to be playing with some this Halloween season, so be sure to check them out, sync6.com. Once again, go to the About page on their website, and it walks you through the whole programming process before you even buy it. It's like having the instructions right there. And they also are readily available for support. They can answer all your questions, and they have a lot of downloadable support files. If there's a specific functions you want to do with these controllers or add on to, that's also available through their website. My conclusion is these are great little prop controllers for the money. When you consider that this is $70 and a Fright Props controller starts at $170 for 2 channels, this one's got 6 already. The value for the money is there. So if you're wanting to do some more intricate scenes, more intricate prop programming, this is a great cost-efficient alternative. That's been a quick look at the Sync 6 prop controllers. Be sure to check them out again at sync6.com. I want to thank Alan for letting me take over YouTube Wednesday this week, so special shout out to him. And you guys have a great, awesome Halloween season. Now go make stuff.